Hi everyone, I hope you're all doing well. This video is for the full moon in Taurus, which is actually tomorrow night. I do normally like to get these readings out a few days early, but I've had a pretty messy time of late. I don't know if this is a Pluto in Capricorn thing, but I've had 2 Mondays in a row where I was in the emergency department almost the whole night. So the first Monday night was with my son and the second Monday night was with my father. And here's the crazy part, they're both Capricorns. So if there are any Capricorns watching, I hope it hasn't been too eventful for you. I just find it incredibly strange that both times it was a Monday night and both times the reason to go to hospital just came up unexpectedly because we'd really had no concerns an hour earlier. And both times we got to the hospital around 8 p.m. and didn't get home until about 4:30 a.m. in the morning. That's a lot of coincidences, right? Anyway, both of them are better now, but I guess I can honestly say I don't bounce back from sleepless nights the way I used to. I've been so tired this week, so any spare time really I've been spending taking little catch-up naps. So there was actually a reading I was working on and it was probably about 85% done, but I realized I had to put that aside to get this one done because I was out of time and I wouldn't be able to finish them both in order. I'm also now wondering if maybe Spirit didn't want that reading out until after this one, and so I had to be thwarted. I do think that Spirit likes to thwart me at times. Like it's maybe the best way to stop me doing something is to throw some stuff at me, like some unexpected visitors or unexpected trips to the hospital. But anyway, it is what it is. Before we move on, let's just do our little love pause. So if you're interested in taking part, just pause the video and send some love out into the universe. Alternatively, you can just do the Ho'oponopono prayer where we can say the 4 sentences, thank you, I love you, I'm sorry, and please forgive me. So yeah, thanks to everyone who takes part in the love pause, and the time to pause is now. I'll see you all on the next slide. All right, so as always, I'll start with the astrology of the full moon and then look at the tarot and oracle card spread for the full moon. I do often find the astrology and tarot connect, but if you're not into astrology at all, you can skip straight on to the tarot reading. I will have timestamps listed in the description box for each section of the presentation. And here we have the full moon chart with the details highlighted. So I've got the full moon axis in purple, and the moon is at 24 degrees of Taurus and it is conjunct Uranus, and you'll see that at about 7 o'clock on this chart. The sun is over on the other side at 24 degrees of Scorpio. Now before I go anywhere, that Uranus conjunction is pretty huge, isn't it? So Uranus is the planet we associate with cosmic consciousness, and in terms of how we experience Uranus, it's often through shocks and shake-ups. And with Taurus being a fixed earth sign, that would make it something that was normally a very stable energy. So this little Uranus conjunction in Taurus could be quite significant. Now Taurus is also the sign we associate with material comforts and luxuries and our values. It is a Venus-ruled sign, and looking at this chart, Venus is up at the top of the chart at almost 12 o'clock, highlighted in red. Now Venus is in Capricorn, so that's another earth sign, so it definitely seems like the earth signs are important here. Now this Taurus-Scorpio axis is also often described as the wealth axis because Taurus is related to personal wealth and Scorpio is about wealth on a collective or shared basis. So that can be more to do with familial wealth, inheritances, global markets and so on. And that's interesting timing-wise because I did hear a couple of days ago, I think, that Warren Buffett had divested big chunks of shares in Amazon and Bank of America. And of course, if we're talking about Warren Buffett, that's basically talking about billions of dollars that got taken out of the share market. Now, that's definitely making me wonder if he's expecting some kind of downturn. And well, he is known as the Oracle of Omaha, so maybe he's seeing something that other people haven't quite seen yet. Now, on this chart, Uranus is conjunct the moon, which puts it in opposition to the sun in Scorpio, so maybe there will be some big financial market shake-up. Was it the last lunar reading where I was channeling all that stuff and I was wondering if Pluto leaving Capricorn might cause some kind of big shake-up? And I remember saying that it could because the GFC actually happened when Pluto was leaving Sagittarius, so that's interesting. And here we do have Pluto at 29 degrees and 56 minutes of Capricorn. So it really is just about to move into Aquarius for good. That'll happen on the 19th of November, so only 4 days after this full moon. And in this reading, or in this spread, I shouldn't say spread, sorry, in this chart, Pluto is actually trining that moon and Uranus, and it's sextiling the sun. So its energy is, positively aspecting this full moon as well. Now, Pluto, if you haven't spotted it already, is at about 11 o'clock, highlighted in dark blue. And we also have Neptune at 27 degrees of Pisces, also positively aspecting this moon. It's sort of doing the opposite. It's sextiling the moon and Uranus, and it's trining the sun. And I've got it highlighted here in a lighter blue at about 9 o'clock on this chart. So again, all of these three major planets, outer planets, are, playing with each other and involved at this full moon. Pluto also has an opposition to Mars here. It's not exact, but Pluto is going to enter Aquarius on the 19th of November, and Mars will start its retrograde on the 6th of December. So Mars is going to move back into an exact opposition as it retrogrades, and then have another exact opposition again when it goes direct. Now, I always see that clash between Pluto and Mars as being between the individual will and the cosmic will, because Pluto and Mars have similarly intense energies, but obviously Mars is a personal planet and Pluto is an outer planet with a collective influence. Now, Pluto is obviously much more powerful, so when it's in opposition to Mars, it's always going to be like an unwinnable battle, and at some point you will just have to surrender to what's happening and accept that you aren't going to be getting your way on this one. Now, the fact that the Mars retrograde is making this opposition repeat a couple of times, it does make me wonder if this is talking about something where you've been quite determined to accomplish something and you've kept trying to make it happen, and the universe has just kept saying, no, nope, not happening, drop it, just let it go, dude. It's just not going to happen. So that's quite funny. You might want to check out your own birth chart to see where these early degrees of Leo in Aquarius are, because the houses might give you a clue about where this struggle is happening. Now, Jupiter ends in retrograde in Gemini at the bottom of this chart, highlighted in that sort of blue-green colour, and it's approaching an opposition to Mercury in Sagittarius, so across up the top. And so these planets are both in detriment in the signs they're in, but they're also both in the sign that's ruled by the other. So that's a dynamic that we call mutual reception. And it ends up having the effect of softening the opposition. So Jupiter rules Sagittarius, Mercury rules Gemini. So even though they're opposing each other, the energies they're dealing with overall are, energies they're both comfortable with, really. So the other thing there is that Mercury goes retrograde on the 25th of November, so this opposition will again become closer, and with both of the planets being in retrograde, they're going to be moving along together a little bit. There's also a T-square that will form with Saturn in Pisces, which has actually just gone direct on the same day as this full moon. So over at about 9:30 on this chart, I've highlighted Saturn in the same shade of blue-green, so you can see that. So with that T-square, we're going to get more tension in November, but those are all mutable signs, and we did have mutable T-squares in the not too distant past, and as I pointed out then, mutable energies are adaptable. So even though a T-square is challenging, these are all energies that can accept change and adapt and adjust. So Jupiter in Gemini I would see as being about big ideas, and Mercury in Sagittarius is really about think about the kind of thinking that's adventurous and fearless in nature. And so in some ways, with those two being, big thinking and wanting to explore things, it might be good to have Saturn bringing some boundaries into the mix. So Saturn in Pisces will mean those boundaries probably relate to our spiritual beliefs and our truest, deepest feelings. So I can see this being a bit like Mercury and Jupiter wanting to do all kinds of things, and Saturn speaking up to say, actually, I don't like that idea. It doesn't fit with who I am or who I want to be, or it might be I just don't feel good about that idea. Let's not do that. So Saturn is now direct, and that's good because it's going to have the upper hand over Jupiter in this dynamic. The Jupiter retrograde also puts it in an ongoing sextile with Chiron in retrograde, which is in Aries. I haven't highlighted it, but it's just past 8 o'clock on this chart. Now that's a good dynamic. It's as I've said before, it's relating to inner healing in relation to self. There's also another sextile I haven't highlighted, but Mercury in Sagittarius is in sextile with Lilith in Libra. So if Mercury in Sagittarius is about adventure and fearlessness, I can see Lilith's influence being about wanting the freedom to do that. Now, the only other thing I'm seeing here is the nodal axis, which I've highlighted in yellow. It's at 3 degrees of Aries and Libra. So the north node in Aries is on the left of the chart and the south node in Libra is on the right. So the nodal axis is showing up as significant here as well because it's being aspected by both Venus and Mars, which are, of course, the planets that represent our feminine and masculine energies. So Venus is at 4 degrees of Capricorn, so it's actually squaring the nodal axis, both the south and north node. Mars is at 3 degrees of Leo, which means it's positively aspecting the nodal axis. It's trining the north node and sextiling the south node. So it definitely gives me the sense that our masculine energy wants to work with the north node, but there may be some resistance coming from our feminine side, and that's going to feel like an inner conflict in relation to the north node. So on the one hand, we might be eager to take passionate action because Mars is in Leo. But with Venus in Capricorn, I feel like there might be the reluctance to let go of what we've already created, built, and worked hard to accomplish. So there might be that sense of this life that I've created is actually worth something too. And that's understandable. But I guess the North Node is about life purpose and what your soul is here to experience in this lifetime. So this is where it might come down to how much you value your spiritual growth and progress over the material stability of the status quo, your current life. So overall, this might be like an important crossroads point in terms of the decisions you have to make. And I'm mindful of the fact that the North Node is going to finish up in Aries soon. In fact, it probably enters Pisces in January. So really those strong Aries energies pushing us to take action and move forward will be done when that North Node changes signs. The Piscean vibe will much more be like a go with the flow kind of energy. So overall, I assume this story will be like the Aries energy gives you that strong push to get you doing what you're meant to be doing. And then when you are doing it, your job then just becomes to flow with wherever things want to go at that point. So that's interesting, isn't it? And obviously we do have that Mars retrograde coming up soon, which will weaken it a little bit, and because it's obviously got those oppositions to Pluto, and it will be re-entering Cancer, which is not a strong sign for Mars. So maybe that Aries North Node effect is going to also be weakened because, of course, Mars is the ruler of Aries. So this might mean that we actually do go through the wind down period of those Aries North Node energies through December. So that's interesting as well. It might actually be almost over in terms of the effect it's been having on us. And I think that's all I've got with this chart. There's definitely a lot going on. The Uranus conjunction could well bring in some big surprises. Saturn is going direct on the same day as this full moon. And that evolving mutable T-square might bring some tension. And again, with that North Node crossroads kind of situation, there might be some big decisions to make in relation to the North Node. So I don't think any of these energies will be particularly easy, but I guess we can only be true to who we are. And as I said earlier, Saturn going direct now will probably mean that we are supported in defending our true spiritual ideals and feelings. And of course, Saturn has been in retrograde through Pisces, so it's probably been going over and connecting with what those things are within us. So it's come out of that retrograde with a deeper understanding of those things, and it's now in a position to defend those feelings and ideals. And I guess by the next time I upload a video, or particularly a lunar video, Pluto will be in Aquarius. So that's the end of an era, folks. I feel like Pluto in Capricorn has been a 16-year roller coaster ride in my life. it's been working through my first and second houses. So it's definitely affected me in a big way and affected many other areas of my life. So my relationships, my marriage, my family, my career, my finances, my health, my spirituality. So I don't know about you guys, but I feel like I'm a completely different person now. And I guess that's what Pluto wanted for me. And to be honest, as challenging as it has been in terms of all the changes that have taken place, I can still see that a lot of those changes have been positive changes. Now, some of the more recent changes I can't comment on because I actually don't know what the outcomes of those decisions are going to be. But maybe those recent changes have been about laying the right material foundations for when Pluto enters Aquarius and starts changing other things. So I guess we might just need to have a little faith that everything that has changed in our lives has happened for our highest good. So it's time now to look at the tarot spread. Oh, oh wow, I just spotted that there's a pentagram on this chart as well. Was it the last reading where I had the same thing? Can't remember. But I guess what I got from the spiritual significance of the pentagram is that that symbol is about the four earthly elements being in harmony with the fifth element, which is spirit. And of course, that always brings a magician to mind because he works with the four elements and spirit to create what he designs in the physical realm. So I felt in that other reading, whichever one it was, that the pentagram was spirit wanting to reassure us, and I get that feeling again. So if the magician energy is here, then it's saying that our spiritual connection will allow us to make things happen in the way we want in our physical lives as well. So that's nice. All right, we'll head off to the tarot section now. Okay, so this is the spread for this full moon, and I have to say I'm really loving all the pretty colors in this spread. I'm seeing lots of higher chakra colors because of all the greens, blues, and purples. And of course, the higher chakras are all more to do with our connection to spirit. So, this could be quite a spiritual reading. And I forgot to say, if you're interested in the decks that I've used, they will all be listed in the description box. Now, the card at the bottom of the deck today is the Eight of Cups. And wow, that touches on something from the astrology straight away, because the Eight of Cups is someone leaving behind the life that they had previously invested in. And that's what those North Node aspects to Mars and Venus were also talking about. So there is a difficult decision to be made, but one that will be made anyway. And this Eight of Cups card always does carry that message of it being something relatively good that's being left behind, because a person recognizes that even if it was good, it isn't what they want from life. So when I say relatively good, I mean that 8 cups is good in relative terms. It's more cups than a lot of other people have. So the reason people walk away from 8 cups is because they understand that the life they've been living will only ever be about the 8 cups that they've already achieved. That life has no potential to give them 9 cups or 10 cups. And if you know your tarot cards, the 9 of Cups is about wishes being fulfilled, and the 10 of Cups is about complete emotional fulfillment. So the 8 of Cups life is good, but it isn't fulfilling, and it never will be, because it's the wrong life. So yes, this is about someone deciding that they're in the wrong life, and even if it's objectively relatively good, they do feel they have to let it go if they want more, if they want to reach and have the kind of life that they've always wanted. So here in this image, the person is heading off through this beautiful field of flowers into an incredible and expansive experience of the world. The card we have in the past position is the Three of Wands card, and it's eerily similar in imagery to the Eight of Cups card. And with this card being in the past position, I guess this person was relatively content living their Eight of Cups life until they saw that another way of life was possible for them. And they just, as soon as they saw it, they felt it calling to them, and their desire to experience that other life just grew stronger. And then they started taking steps towards having those experiences that they really felt like they wanted to have. So the image in this card shows someone who has stepped into the beautiful field of flowers, and they find themselves gazing out at the expansive beauty in front of them. And really, in doing that, they have turned their back on the things that used to hold their attention. So it's really like the old life just couldn't compete at all with the beauty of the vision this person got of what their life could be. And I guess I have to say it is just a vision in both of these cards, because they're both cards about someone being guided to go in a new direction, believing that that will mean a better life for them. So they haven't actually had the experience of this life that they're desiring, but they just have this strong desire, this strong yearning to go towards it. And it's almost like the word strong isn't strong enough to describe this pull. So this is like a magnetic pull, something this person can't resist at all. And really that's just making me think North Node, isn't it? But anyway, in this Three of Wands card, there's a wandering path along the water's edge. And we actually have an oracle card that's titled A Wandering Path. And it has the message, enjoy the journey. There's a fox on this card looking at a map. There's an X marked on the map showing us the destination, and there's a compass on top of the map as well. So this image kind of speaks of how our minds might feel like they need a map with the destination marked, and feel like they need a compass so that we don't get lost. But then we have this fox. The fox doesn't actually need any of those things. It really doesn't even have the hands to carry such things. So the fox goes wherever it wants to go, and it survives because of its own intelligence and instincts. So the wandering path, to me, isn't really one that's going to come with a map and a compass and a known destination. The wandering path is really an adventure into the unknown. So we won't know where the path goes. We won't know what lies ahead on the path. We won't know where the path ends, or if it actually even ends at all. Our minds really won't know what's coming, so they won't be able to plan or prepare for what's ahead. So this card is really about trusting that the path is the right one, even if there is nothing tangible to confirm that. So all we'll have is that inner knowing, that feeling of rightness, that magnetic pull. The message on the card, as I said, is to enjoy the journey. So the path is beautiful. This vision you have is beautiful. The path is beautiful. And there will be plenty of things to experience as you travel along the path. So this card is really just telling you to enjoy the journey and not worry about where it leads, or, not worry about the things that might show up, because they're not necessarily going to be bad things. And as far as how you'll survive on this path, you're really just going to do it the same way the fox would. You're going to use your intelligence, your instincts, your skills and life experience. And if there are challenges that are completely foreign to you, you're going to figure out how to navigate those situations. So in the present position, we have the Seven of Wands, and this is really about defending this decision you're making. So the Seven of Wands card is always about someone who's defending their position. And again, I'm drawn back to the astrology because I felt that Saturn in Pisces would be about speaking up for your truest feelings and your deepest values. So this decision to follow the wandering path is about you doing what you feel spiritually guided to do. And I guess you might have to defend that to other people. So as I said earlier, the life with the 8 cups can look pretty good to other people. So there might be a lot of the, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? Are you crazy kind of questions. So you might be getting a lot of that. And to be honest, it might not even be about other people. Your mind might be wondering all of those things as well. We did have Venus in Capricorn in the astrology squaring the North Node. So that did make me feel like there would be an inner conflict about letting go of the old life. The old life was familiar, it was comfortable, and it was safe. It was something you'd invested a lot of yourself in as well. And so you quite rightly might struggle with letting that go. So this Seven of Wands energy is where your soul has to speak its truth and say, well, this is the path I'm choosing because I believe it's the right path for me. So it's going to take courage to deal with those challenges, those fears and insecurities, those attachments. So this decision really might not make sense right now, not to anyone else, and certainly not even necessarily a decision that makes sense to you. But you're just going to have to be firm in your inner belief that you're making the right decision. There's an oracle card here titled Independence with a butterfly on it.
This carries the message of how a butterfly liberates itself from the chrysalis that was confining it. I guess the old life might be your chrysalis. It's the thing that you've perhaps outgrown. The reason that you're now finding that that old life is the wrong life is probably because of how much you've changed. Your transformation has changed you into someone who can't live that life anymore. And again, we'd go back to the astrology with that, because Pluto has been changing us since 2008. We've changed, and so our lives also will have to change. And when you think about the butterfly emerging from the chrysalis, it has to start a completely new life, because it's not a caterpillar anymore. It can't go back to living a caterpillar life. The butterfly now has wings that allow it to venture out into the world and experience many new things, many unfamiliar places. The butterfly's wings have given it the independence to do that. And I guess your transformation similarly has equipped you to be able to do the same. It's made you someone who can take the wandering path. And as I say that, I realize that maybe the path has always existed, but the old you would have looked at that path and seen it as impossible. The old you would have said, oh, that's too unfamiliar, it's too risky, it's too scary. But now you're looking at it and you actually want to experience it because it just looks so beautiful to you. So that's how much you've changed. The message on this card reads, the more you learn to feed yourself on the inside and care for the inner child, the more freestanding you become. Help me love and feed this inner child, dear Lord. So that's a prayer, but it's also a message about understanding that you can make your own way as long as you're able to give yourself all the love, support, comfort and encouragement that you need. So this is reminding me of the words go your own way, and it's actually funny because I've come across those words a few times this week. The Fleetwood Mac song has come up on the radio, there's been versions of it on advertisements, and I actually heard someone singing it, and then I saw it as a sticker on another person's car. So those words have been popping up this week, so I guess it was meant for this reading. So this is a journey about going your own way, and on this journey you might not get a lot of external support, so you need to be able to look after yourself in that respect. So it's going to be on you to pick yourself up if you're feeling down, and to encourage and motivate yourself when you need it. So I was just thinking about how this is really about being your own best friend and being your partner in crime, and being your own partner in crime. And I had the words "you'll never walk alone" also pop into my head. So yeah, if you can be your own best friend and your own partner in crime, you will never walk alone. Now, the card in the future position is the Seven of Cups, which is a card about options and choices. Again, I'm feeling a strong sense of personal freedom coming through in this card. So on this wandering path, it's all up to you. You get to choose the cups that you want to sample. You get to pick the experiences that you want to have. Your life will be what you choose to make of it. And that's reminding me of how we did have magician energy show up right at the end in the tarot, in the astrology section. So your spiritual alignment is going to be what makes this possible. And now the last oracle card. Well, it was actually the first oracle card, because I always start with the oracle cards. It was actually the first card that I pulled for this spread. So yeah, it's interesting that it is only able to be talked about at the end, but this card is definitely saying to me that this new direction you're taking has to do with your spiritual purpose. So I think your North Node is a spiritually focused North Node. And in fact, looking at this card, I'm almost getting magician vibes, because there is so much going on in this card. But it's actually a priestess card. She's a priestess, and she's the priestess of the gift to serve, which is just making it so clear that this spread is about the journey of someone who knows that they are a light worker. They know it within themselves. The priestess here is strongly spiritually connected. We see her third eye is open. We see guides. Her guides are with her. There's an owl on this card. I'm also seeing a bind rune, a triple moon symbol, and a triple spiral motif. I think that's called a triscale. Triscale. I don't know how to pronounce it. I think it's triscale. But the bind rune, I just looked up. I'm not particularly good with runes, but I could see the Bacana rune being part of it. But anyway, this particular bind rune, when I looked it up, represents peace and happiness. So I guess these are the values of this person. The triple moon symbol is, of course, about the divine feminine energy, the three archetypes of that being the maiden, the mother, and the crone. And I think it is the triscale. The triscale is said to represent the physical world, the spiritual world, and the celestial world, or earth, water, and sky. So again, that makes you think of the magician, doesn't it? But anyway, so overall, the energy I get from this card is this is about someone who has gifts to share with the world. They're very connected spiritually and very capable of manifesting things in the real world. Their values seem to be about happiness and peace. So they have good intentions, and this is their journey. So this new journey that they've decided to take, it is about leaving their old life behind in order to serve their spiritual purpose, which is to share their gifts with the world. Wow, that was a big reading, wasn't it? And I got that sense with both the astrology and the tarot. So this is a time to pursue your spiritual purpose if you feel guided to. And if there are big decisions to make, you will be making them. So all the very best with all of that. In terms of this reading, it's over now. So thank you all for taking the time to watch the video. If you did enjoy watching it, please do subscribe to the channel, which will help it grow. Please give the video a like as well. I would love to hear your thoughts. So please do leave comments if ever you feel guided to. If you're already subscribed, thank you for your ongoing support. As I mentioned earlier, the decks I've used are listed in the description box. I will need to tell you that there are some Amazon affiliate links there with those decks. So if you do use those links to check them out, please know that those links mean that if you click on them and you buy the deck within 24 hours, I might qualify for a small commission from Amazon. And that comes at no extra cost to you. When you click on those links, they should take you to the Amazon site that you would normally use. So your shopping experience really shouldn't be any different to any other time you've shopped on Amazon. If you're interested in using the affiliate links but are a bit unsure about whether you'd like to purchase a deck, just try and pop the item into your cart while you think about it, because from what I've read, if you've added the item to your cart within 24 hours of clicking on the link, the affiliate link will still work in terms of helping me out. So that's just something you can do. And of course, you can always remove the item then from your cart if you decide not to buy the deck or you find a better deal somewhere else. And for those of you who are interested in using the affiliate links, there's more information in the description box, so do check that out. All of my older videos have also been updated to have the deck details in the description box. So even if I don't mention that in those videos, check the description box if you're interested in checking out or purchasing the decks I've used in those older readings. Finally, thank you all for staying to the end, and I do hope I'll see you all again in another video. I guess this might be a full moon with a few shocks, so all the very best. I hope you will get through all of that very well. See you next time. Bye.